Your BGH1 has the ability to stream an Rtsp stream over a local network. Think of Rtsp over a local network like a really long SDI cable. You can put your camera anywhere on the network and then pick up a stream from that camera anywhere else on the network without having to rerun the cable. To do this, we'll need to go into the camera's menu system. You can do this either using an attached monitor or using the LUMIX Tether app. I'm going to go ahead and do this on the monitor directly. To configure Rtsp, go to the wrench menu, then to the in and out menu, then under LAN and Wi-Fi, scroll down to streaming setup. Let's go through the options starting at the bottom. The Rtsp port by default is set to 554, and this is going to work just fine on most networks. If you find that it doesn't work on your network, you can change the Rtsp port, or you can reconfigure your network to use the port 554. The next option is your streaming quality. And as you can see here, there are a lot of options. Starting at the bottom with a simple 720p stream at 2997 and only 4 megabit. Notice too that this is an H.264 stream. As I scroll up through the list, you'll see that the quality gets a little better. We go to 60p and 6 megabit. We can get into full HD at 3 megabit, 6 megabit, and so on. And as we go higher and higher, we will eventually get to 4K and then to 4K over H.265. At the top of the list, we can do H.265 in full 4K, 5994 frames per second, and 50 megabit. We're going to go ahead and choose that one. And then finally, set the streaming function to on. Once that's on, if I back out of the menu, now that streaming is configured, you'll notice a little blue chevron in the top left corner telling us that streaming is configured. But the camera's not actually streaming yet. To start the stream, we need to fire up a streaming receiver like VLC or OBS or any Rtsp receiving hardware somewhere else on the network and connect to the camera. Before we do that though, there's a couple things I want to do. First of all, once that streaming actually starts, this little indicator will change. It'll get a little radio symbol around it, but that's not very clear that it's actually streaming. There is something I can add that's a little bit more clear, and that is a blue box around the entire frame that tells me that streaming has begun. So let me go ahead and turn that on by going into the menu, going to the gear menu, and then under monitor display page 2, you'll see here streaming blue frame indicator. I'll go ahead and turn that on, and now that's set. Finally, I do need to get the IP address of this camera. So I'll go back into the LAN/Wi-Fi menu, go down to LAN Wi-Fi setup, and then scroll down to network address display. This will show me the IP address that has been assigned to my camera, in this case, 10.0.1.140. The address that I need to actually enter into the receiving software is rtsp:// that IP address /stream. Let's have a look. I'll fire up VLC. From the media menu, choose Open Network Stream. You can see I've already entered the URL, and I'll click play. And that's it. Just like that, we're now seeing the stream from this camera in VLC. And again, this can be picked up on any software or hardware that will pick up an Rtsp stream. Notice over here on the connected monitor that we have a blue box around the frame indicating that it is currently streaming. It is worth noting that while you're streaming, you can't record internally on the camera. However, you can record externally over the HDMI or SDI connections. I currently have an Atomos Ninja 5 recorder connected over HDMI, so I can start recording here by simply tapping record on the Ninja itself. Notice, however, that I do have the information display on the screen here, so I'll want to make sure I turn that off by touching the FN1 button and cycling that through, and you're now recording a clean HDMI signal into that Atomos external recorder. I'd like to point out as well that you can actually trigger the external recorder using the LUMIX Tether software. To do that, you'll have to configure the camera to trigger external HDMI recording. If you don't know how to do that, watch our video on how to configure an external recorder for recording. However, I do want to warn you that if you do set it up that way, once you hit record in the software, it is going to give you a dialog telling you that you cannot record internally while you're streaming. However, it also tells you that you can record externally. You'll just want to make sure that your recorder has started, and at that point, you're recording and you're good to go.
Panasonic.